Hi, folks. Welcome back to Money and Politics. It's Tuesday, August 24. And I'm going to make this, I always say this, but I'm going to try to make this quick tonight because as I tape this, it's now about 20 minutes before 6. And I've been asked to participate in something I didn't even know existed until this afternoon in I don't even know what's called, a Twitter room. So at 6 o'clock, it's just audio. And I'm going to be talking with some other individuals in there. We'll see how that goes. I think it would be fun sometime to have a group discussion here and there. I don't want to, nothing just all the time. And I think anyway, it might be fun. And the point is I'm going to make this short tonight because I got to do that in about 20 minutes. So I'm going to try to go through a couple of ideas reasonably quickly here. One of them is that today we were up on Humbl, and you can see that the volume was not really strong. So it was almost 3 million shares, which is about half of the last 10 days. So I'm not going to pound the table and say that's fantastic. I point out when there's not conviction on the downside, there's not necessarily a whole lot of conviction here on the upside. But if you haven't watched what I did last night, and I didn't put out a video until close to 10 o'clock Central last night, so some of you may or may not have seen it. The gist of it is last night, Rebecca and Matt Good, I was going to say, make sure I say that right, sent me some information about some things that were going on seemingly behind the scenes in Humbl. And it looks as if Humbl is putting out an updated version of their NFT platform. And so that was something I talked about. Now, you can look at that. I'm not going to repeat myself, but the long and short of it, what I would say is that I think there are going to be things happening. And I said this back in May. I think I said it back in June. Basically, as I kind of look at what we've done so far in this year with Humbl, starting more or less in January, you had to get the SPAC out of the way, is that we were, as investors, buying into the promise until, I'm going to say about July, when we got to the second quarter, we could have some second quarter earnings. And as I say, practically speaking, kind of the first quarter where we really had earnings. So from July going forward now, we're moving away from just the promise. We're going to be increasingly switching our standard to holding Humbl accountable for what they're doing. What are they achieving? And all the rest. So I just wanted to repeat that. There's better pictures out there now. I do happen to have, this is somewhat what was put up here. You can see by Tampa Man, where it says leaked and now taken down, but it was basically some pictures. Again, there's some better ones, and I didn't have the time today to kind of clarify all that. But I think this is one indication and a reminder, when we have had Humbl kind of quiet, aside from saying that they've brought on some new investors, that I think there are interesting things going on behind the scenes, and this is a confirmation. Brian and the gang are not sitting around headquarters in San Diego playing bumper pool. I mean, they're working, they're doing their thing. And I think we're going to start to see the results of that, increasingly so, as I've just mentioned, and that would drive the stock price up on an ongoing basis once we reignite the enthusiasm. And those of you who were in the Humbl going back to the early part of the year, remember how much enthusiasm there was. I mean, this company came out of the gate, like a Triple Crown winner. It just took off. And then the enthusiasm, for understandable reasons, because of the decline of the stock price over time, because things taking longer than people, I think, unrealistically expected them to take. In other words, they thought they should have been done faster. I didn't. But enthusiasm has certainly waned among many who have been following the Humbl story. And I think what we can do, if Brian and the team can come out with some regular updates that are meaningful, where are we on peer-to-peer, where are we on the ticket sales, etc., I think we can reignite the enthusiasm. And then that stock price will go back up, as we all hope it will. And it won't be by 4 cents as it was today. It'll be going up far more substantially. And again, as I have said in other, and I'm repeating here, as I said in other videos, I think the price action is not just going to be, taking off and constantly going up. I expect it to be somewhat like a stair step, boom, up, boom, and then flat, up and then flat for a while, up and then flat for a while. Now, that said, I got to watch my time. What else was there? Oh, in the news today, we are money and politics after all. The House of Representatives, I wasn't sure this was going to get done through the House, but the House of Representatives in Washington passed the infrastructure bill. And on one hand, this nation sorely needs to spend money on infrastructure. And I'm not just talking about roads and bridges. I mean, certainly that. I mean, we have tunnels, we have bridges that are crumbling, but airports, railroad lines, the rollout of broadband, which makes my productions available. I couldn't be doing these interviews without broadband, as you all know. And just as we did in the 1930s as a country, we brought electrification around the country to rural America as well. We need to do the same thing with broadband. So I have no complaints about spending money on infrastructure. That is absolutely the role of government. Absolutely the role of government. We should be doing that. What I do have a complaint about is the amount of other things that are tucked in the bill. And having been in Washington, this is, common factors where they take a major piece of legislation and they shove non-germane language into the bill. They call it an infrastructure bill. They go, how can you be against infrastructure? And then, the fact of the matter is they have other items in there that would never pass the Congress if they were forced to try to vote on a bill by itself. So I'm against stuffing this non-germane product into the bill, which means the Senate is 50-50. 50 Republicans, 50 Democrats. The Democrats have the one vote margin because on a tie, the vice president can break the tie, Vice President Harris. When this bill leaves the House and comes back to the Senate, we'll have to see where this all stands. And as I'm saying that, I'm trying to remember, I think it comes back to the Senate now. This has been such a drawn-out process. And remember, too, one of the problems in this bill is there's language, very poorly written language, that would impact cryptocurrencies and blockchain. And it's not a death knell, but it is damaging. So as Humbl investors, we have to watch that too. So I just wanted to bring that to all your attention. So that also was big news, and that came late in the day today. I think that's to make it short, that's pretty much what I have for you tonight. I would say, and I'll talk more about, I think, this infrastructure bill as we go along. It did pass the House. I wasn't sure it would. Pelosi was having problems getting some of her own Democrats to vote on it. And in the House, they also have the Democrats have a very slim margin to get bills passed. So she really has to corral every Democratic vote she can to get something passed, and she was able to do that today. So that's the carryaway. As we said, I think things are going to be coming along our way that we'll be following as always. I think they're going to be exciting. And as I said last night, folks, if you bought Humbl at a higher price and you're still holding it, and you're very discouraged, and we're down to like 74 cents, you can do what you want. You're the investment manager of your own money. I'm not. If you ask my advice, I would say if you wrote it down this far, I wouldn't go out at this time. I think there's reason to believe that this, I may have said 74 cents, it's 78 cents. It went up 4 cents, but I have reason to believe that there are reasons to continue to believe in the story. And now we are moving into the execution stage. And with that, I will say good night to you for now. Thank you as always for all of you watching and for commenting. I enjoy your comments. I enjoy reading them. And we'll look forward to talking to you again tomorrow. Until then, take care.